Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Seasons and Ritual and IndependenceStNola, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the messages that are coming through for this full solar eclipse that's happening on April 19th and 20th. It is happening, we are having our second dark moon of Aries, and all solar eclipses happen on dark moons and new moons, and then all lunar eclipse happens on full moons. I know, that's just how nature works. So what's interesting about this total solar eclipse that's happening on the 19th/20th, depending on where you are in the world, is that it's being called a hybrid eclipse. And so depending on where you are in the world, you're either going to see a total blackout, or some of them will see the ring of fire. And what's coming in for that is that what this is showing for us is that we're all going to see things differently based on where we are and based on our perspectives. And so the message that's coming in through here is that it is important for us to remember that when we are having conversations with people. Again, this goes back to this idea of compassion. And that I'm pretty sure I talked about in a couple videos ago, or maybe last video. But the fact that this hybrid eclipse is coming in, and people are calling it the hybrid eclipse, and they are saying it's because it's depending on where you are, you're going to see something totally different. I think that is showing us as a collective, it's time to start seeing where people's perspectives are coming from. And I think the more we can start to see where people's perspectives are coming from, that's going to open up new forms of communications, not only with ourselves, but with others, and the way that we communicate with others. You know, I know we always talk about maybe thinking about someone's background or what they've been accustomed to seeing, or what they've been accustomed to being told their whole lives. And a lot of times we don't always think about that, or we don't see it because everything's kind of been homogenized so much lately. But it is important for us as a collective to start bringing in these different perspectives, because what's coming in at the end of the day is that we're all still experiencing the same thing. It's just that we're all experiencing it differently. And I know I honestly, like me saying this, it all sounds like so simple, and it sounds like things that are like a no-brainer, like no kidding. But at the same time, it is important to remember. I'm kind of laughing because I just need to go with what's coming in and not really second guess it. But it's really important to remember that we are entering this age of Aquarius. And in this age of Aquarius, Aquarius is the individual first, and then the collective. So it's important to start kind of applying that to our everyday lives, but also into others around us. Why does someone have this perspective? And it could be that easy. It could be, that question. Or is someone, is the conversation going a certain way because someone thinks I have a certain perspective about them, or they already think they have a certain perspective about me. And so, and it's nothing to, ruminate too deeply on, but it is something to just kind of bring into your awareness or bring into your consciousness. I'm going to be doing a video, Helen and I always do our weekly updates. So we're going to be doing that a little later today. And we can talk probably more about the different degrees and different aspects that are going to be happening with this solar eclipse. But what's coming in for me is just this idea to share with you guys. This is a really important time to get as much rest as possible. We always call this the eclipse portal. And so because the two eclipses, right, this dark moon will be the solar eclipse, and then the full moon following will be the lunar eclipse. And so we always call this time the eclipse portal. And so when there is an eclipse portal, it is important to know that the rhetoric is going to bump up. Okay. I can already feel it. Everything seems very, it's vibrating really hard, or like vibrating really fast. And it's not a bad thing. But it is just something to be aware of in the collective. And it's just something to be aware of if you need to unplug. There's going to be a lot of big information coming out this week, just news wise. And then again, with like all the mass shootings and stuff here in America, it is okay just to take a time out and work with your own mental health, get as many walks in as you can, or get out in the sun as much as you can. It is a solar eclipse. We are ending Aries season, about to go into Taurus season. Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Cancer, chilling out in Cancer. But Mars is that fire. Mars is the instigator in a good way. Mars is I'm not a cardinal sign. I've lost my marbles. Anyway, instigates. Mars instigates. So there's been a lot of things instigated since Pluto has moved into Aquarius. It has been almost nonstop. And so this dark moon is telling us, or is telling me, or sharing, it's okay to take this time to rest. The moon in these solar eclipses, the moon moves in between the sun and the earth. And again, that to me is giving us a time to rest. It's blocking out the sun to say, we're going to take a little bit of a break here. And it's also the sun agreeing that it's better for us to start tapping back into our intuition. And it's important too, guys, to know that, Saturn moved into Pisces, Pluto moved to Aquarius, and now we're in eclipse season. And that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of big movement, and we do good as human beings keeping up with this stuff, but then there comes a time where it's like, I definitely need to take a little bit of a break. I definitely need to take a little bit of a rest. Unplugging from technology is really coming in strong. And I get the tales of irony that I'm putting this on social media. But that's just how we are right now. So after you watch this video, feel free just to unplug for the rest of the week. But it is important because what's coming through with this dark moon, it's important to start getting back into a different conversation with our intuition. See how it wants to start coming through in this age of Aquarius. See how it starts to start coming through now that Saturn has moved into Pisces. Pisces is the mystic. Pisces is water. Pisces is the alpha and the omega. When one thing ends, something new begins. And so with Saturn in there, making us feel more stable with this idea of, I want to say life ever after, but energy, energy keeps moving. Well, now we have to start having these different conversations with ourselves with what does that mean? What is the new perspective I have on that idea? What is the new perspective that I can start? How's my perspective changed that I can start listening to my intuition? And it's telling me new things. Again, it kind of goes back to this idea of giving us new answers to old problems, and one way we can do that is if we get quiet and listen, if we get quiet and ask, if we get quiet and spend time with ourselves. Again, when we're out in nature, nature has all those negative ions, right? Computers, all that stuff has positive ions. That's why it's so important to unplug and go into nature, because it brings us back into balance. So the more you guys can get into nature this week leading up to this eclipse, I feel like the more it's going to help defrazzle us, I guess. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah, defrazzle us and just help keep us grounded with all this new fire coming in, right? Because we are moving into Taurus season, which is great, because then that's going to bring in a lot of that grounding energy as well. But I really feel like if you guys are wanting things to happen quicker or not fast enough and you're wondering why, this is a good time just to take that break and just kind of have simple conversations with yourself. Simple, see where your mind is going on things. See if you are not necessarily repeating an old pattern, but maybe there's a little bit of an old story that's still hanging around, that when you start thinking about the thing that you want, that old story pops up, or that old voice in your head comes up, and then you can have a conversation with that particular voice in your head or that particular story and really, put it to rest, with this with us moving forward. It is not advised to work with eclipse energy. And I agree with that sentiment somewhat. I always call the portal time and eclipse time, I use the term wild magic, and wild magic serves itself. Wild magic doesn't work for anyone. Wild magic is here to move things forward the way it seems fit. So take that in consideration too. The idea of wild magic always excites me. I like wild magic. I think I wrote on it in my blog. Maybe I'll put a link to it, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I feel kind of tired today. You know, I worked all weekend and it was such lovely. I met so many lovely people. It really is so fulfilling when I get to work with you guys. But I am flesh and bone too, friends. And so yes, when these things start coming in, and I too need to take breaks and, well, that was coffee, but drink plenty of water. And I'm definitely going to go for a walk today and just kind of take it easy. But back to this idea of wild magic. When wild magic comes in, it is to me a lot of this idea of surrendering. It is a lot of this idea of being okay with this idea that forces are here to help us move us forward in the best way possible. And again, one of the way we see that is depending on our perspective, and realizing other people have different perspectives, in that, when we can get to that place of compassion and to that place of, which isn't always easy, but compassion in different perspectives, then, there is always a conversation to be had, and there is always an answer to be found. And I think as human beings, we can be smarter than any quote unquote problem, or any, we can find solutions to anything. I really do believe that. And I do believe some of them might be a lot simpler than we think. And, some of them might be a little more challenging, but I do believe as humans, when we come together, we really can change things for the best. I really do feel like as humans, which I don't have any statistics, but I feel like the majority of people, want to thrive, want a good, clean earth, want to feel safe, want their kids to feel safe, love animals, all those things, want to go to work, want to make a good living, and just be happy and joyous. I really do believe that. In the way that it starts to manifest and come out, all that's going to be changing because we are in this different energy. So again, because we're in this eclipse portal, this is a lot of power. I mean, it's a lot of power. It's a lot of energy hitting the earth. So I know I'm repeating myself, but the more you guys can unplug and take deep breaths and start initiating these new conversations with yourself about perspective, or just say, hey, universe or whatever, I would like to start to see where maybe I can change my perspective on things, and then allow it, just to come up and show itself organically. And then see what happens. It is these subtle differences. It is that whisper that you hear, or that aha moment that changes everything. I know we always want to be like, The Price is Right, where we do win the showcase showdown and the confetti's flying and we're all jumping up and down. I like the big wheel. At the same time, a lot of times it is when we are by ourselves, or we are kind of listening to something, or, it's that small little click that changes everything. So it's important to know when you are with, by yourself, and you are having these thoughts, Or if you're by yourself and you just stop certain thoughts, you're like, this is getting overwhelming. What can I do to calm myself and let things go? When you remember that you have those tools to help with that and ease that just a little bit, that brings in comfort, that brings in this idea that, okay, while I have to surrender, there are still parts of me that I can be in control of. In that part of you where you start to vibrate at a more calm level, we are all connected energetically, and that really helps soothe the world. That helps soothe people's fears. That helps change, perspectives. And, we're getting out of this certain collective consciousness and we're starting to hit a new unity consciousness and to bring that in. And people can get scared and people are afraid of things, and a lot of times when we just realize that, like, people are acting out of fear, sometimes people are acting out of greed, all these things, but it comes from a fear, right? That fear of not having enough. It really helps you as an individual to have compassion with yourself, where maybe, and I mean that, like, where maybe things come up and you get triggered or get angry or pissed off. And let me tell you again, I'm only human. If I'm sleepy or kind of tired, I will totally have some choice words for some drivers around me. So, you know, I mean, I get it, you guys. I get it. The everyday life experience. And then if you couple that with the news and you couple that with, you know, you got to go get pet food, or, your kids or your parents or all these things, that do start to add up. And then on top of that, add that we're in eclipse season and all this shit's going on energetically in outer space. Ooh, okay. So take some deep breaths, unplug as much as possible. No, again, I know I tell you stuff, but you guys, we really are doing a good job, whether the national news wants you to know that or not. Again, check on your environment, check on your neighbors, see how you're, tell somebody at work, hey, how's it going? All those little things, that is your life. That is your community. That is how change occurs. And you just never know, just that littlest thing where you just open the door and stuff, it just might remind someone that humanity isn't all bad. And that quick little moment they remember, oh, you know what? Humanity doesn't suck as much as I thought it did. Then starts a whole new chain reaction of this other new energy coming in to the planet. So I know I keep kind of looking off to the side. So what was interesting with my I had 2 clients yesterday, and both of them, unbeknownst to each other, both wanted to talk about their guides or maybe some ancestors. And so I have this deck. It's Angels and Ancestors, and it's by Kyle Gray, and I've had it for years. And so I brought it because there was a note saying that one of the women wanted to talk about this. And then it turned out the other woman wanted to talk about it too. So I decided with this little video, what I was going to do was pull a couple cards, which I usually don't pull cards on camera, mainly because there's so many other people that pull cards on camera. I mean, I guess if I got flooded with all my viewers, all my viewers out there, if I got flooded or if I got specific requests, I would definitely pull some cards on camera. But we're going to pull 2 cards from this deck. And these are 2 guides that you can work with. These are the 2 guides that are coming in that anyone could work with, that's going to help make this eclipse season better. Oh, wow. Man, I can't make this up. The first one that came in is Broken Arrow. And it says, embrace the energy of peace. Embrace the energy of peace, Broken Arrow. which I think is so beautiful right now for what everything is going on in our world, just not here in the United States, but internationally too. Again, this idea of unplugging, this idea that you can be at peace with yourself. And when you really find peace with yourself, you're able to extend that peace a little bit to others. When you have that compassion with yourself, then, you know, you can start giving a little compassion to others. Okay, thank you. And we're going to pull one more. One more, please. To work with this energy of this eclipse in this eclipse portal. To work with the energy of this eclipse, please. With this eclipse. Okay, hold on. And I might have two. Nope, just one. It's it's the warrior card. Be fearless and stand strong. And see this as a spiritual warrior. Stand strong in this idea that we can have compassion. Stand strong in this idea that we can have peace within ourselves. Stand strong in this idea that others can have different perspectives, but we can come to a consensus and really do what is best for us at this time right now. There's a lot of people that come out and want to be leaders. And to being a true leader is not easy. It's not easy. You have to know when to hold them and you have to know when to fold them, friends. And but you have to listen. You have to listen to what other people are saying. You have to understand that where people's motives are coming from, where their perspectives are coming from. They're going to be different from yours 9 times out of 10, because if not, you're just in this echo chamber and it doesn't make any sense. To be a warrior, to be fearless and to stand strong, that is standing strong with spirit, that standing strong in this idea of truth, knowing that others have truths. But what is the ultimate truth? What is that ultimate peace? I'm going to read from these books. I'm going to read from the book for these. Let's see, warrior symbols, arrow, broken arrow. I don't know if I can hold this up and read the same thing. I'm going to try. This might look a little awkward. Okay. Broken arrow, message. Okay. Oh, this is so beautiful. Message: let go of the need to defend yourself and prepare to offer peace. You are safe. Just as the arrow card symbolizes defense and protection, the broken arrow card symbolizes peace. In Native American traditions, a broken arrow would mean that tribes were no longer fighting one another, but were making alliances. When you see a broken arrow in a meditation, vision, dream, or reading, it is a message that you no longer need to fight because peace has arrived. This is a powerful symbol of harmony, serenity, and community. And this is the extended message. If you have been exposed to a situation in which you have felt the need to protect yourself or defend what you feel is right, know that that is now coming to an end. With the arrival of the broken arrow card, you are being guided to know that the energies of light are entering to wash away all the darkness. You can drop your shields and protection. You are now in a situation that honor you and honor your needs. Arguments are ending and disagreements are being resolved. Prepare to talk through and offer the peace that you would like to enjoy in order to move forward in a more fearless way. It's important for you to let go of the idea that you can be hurt by the situation or the people involved, because this will only work against you. Know that your angelic guides and ancestors are standing around you, protecting you, and taking you lovingly forward. And again, too, I think this goes back to that idea of surrender, that idea of knowing, like we mentioned before, things are working for you to help move you forward, but things are also moving with the planet. The more that you can disconnect, reconnect to yourself, be strong, and get this idea of peace within you, I feel the better it will be the better it is going forward with this eclipse coming in. Okay. And then we have warrior. Oop. Be fearless and stand strong. Don't back down. Make your opinions heard. Don't settle for second best. And again, this is coming in as the spiritual warrior. Okay. We'll just leave it at that. About a warrior is anyone who is ready and willing to know themselves and do what needs to be done in order to get to where they want to be. In this deck, the warrior embodies fierce primal love, the warrior within, the energy you can call on to protect yourself, even if you don't think you love yourself. If you are exposed to a situation that could be harmful or dangerous, the steps you take to protect yourself are in fact acts of fierce love. This is so interesting, you guys, especially when we're talking about different perspectives. If some of us are coming from a broken arrow and other of us are coming from this warrior, but not the warrior of love, the warrior coming from fear, that can show why we have so many disagreements. And I feel like this is, again, a no-brainer, but for some reason this is coming up to be told. So again, though, let's see this warrior through as a spiritual warrior standing with love, as it says in the book. Although the warrior in this card is surrounded by darkness, he is of the light. The warrior within is made of light and has the capacity to shine even more brightly when facing darkness head on. Extended message. If you are experiencing fear at this time, know that this means whatever is going on is important to you. Whenever you feel fear, you are on the verge of something big, perhaps a massive breakthrough that is going to really help move you forward. If you have a situation on your hands where you have to face someone or something that's been unsettling you, know that you are being guided to call up your inner warrior. Don't falter and don't be frightened, because you have the energy to protect yourself now at all times. And honestly, you guys, there's one stuck to the back of this card. I don't know if I'll read this one. I guess I should. Okay, so that was the warrior. Okay. And then stuck to the warrior card is the high priestess. Harness mystic power. And this idea of the mystic power coming in, once again, kind of taps into this idea of wild magic, right? I'm just going to talk a little bit on this and then we can clear it up with the book. But the way too, I see like harnessing mystic power. There are things that we don't understand. We love science. Who doesn't love science? At the same time, there are just some things that we don't understand. I see this as saying it's okay to harness this wild magic, work with this mystic power. The High Priestess card in the Tarot rarely comes out. So the fact that she came out with this deck, to me, I'm a little speechless, quite honestly. So let's see what it says. Let's see what this says. Well, okay. High Priestess. It's here. Yep. Message: align with the light and focus on all things positive. The High Priestess is the physical embodiment of the divine feminine, the goddess in human form. And remember, we all have the divine feminine within us, masculine and male and female. We all have divine feminine power within us. She has had many names throughout time and space, but her essence has remained similar: fierce, powerful, and disciplined. In many traditions, particularly pre-Christian, the high priestess was in charge of spiritual and religious orders and was the voice of authority and the guidance from the gods. Again, with this full lunar eclipse that's happening, the moon blocks out the sun. The moon, which is the feminine, is going to have more of an influence on the earth right now. And I just think it's being validated with this card, I'm going to say. Okay. The High Priestess in this deck is the consort and partner of the High Priest. If you look at them together, you will see that they mirror each other's energy. She is joined by a black cat representing the Egyptian goddess Bast, who protects her from lower energies, and she stands strong in her glory and power. Again, if we want to extend it, moon and sun is the divine masculine. They're working together with this eclipse. The high priestess, though, is coming on a little more strong, if you will. Okay, extended message, and this is for all of us. This is so beautiful, you guys. You are a mystic with the capacity to connect with the energies that go beyond the human senses. Within you is a force of magic that is directed by your will. There is an opportunity for you to rise up at this time, but it requires dedication and discipline. You are being guided to look at what you are working on or at the situation before you and determine where your priorities lie. If you are unable to figure that out, you must use your intuition and discernment to focus on what will bring you closer to your goal and the happiness of everyone involved. When this card arrives, it is also important for you to check in with your intuition, as it will give you guidance that will be important for your growth. Wow. So again, I do think it's, again, like I said at the beginning, I do think it's important to disconnect as much as possible at this time. Give yourself that time and space to reconnect with yourself. And again, the time to start to reconnect with your intuition. We had Broken Arrow. The Warrior. And we have the High Priestess. So I think this is a really beautiful message for this eclipse that's coming in on the 19th and 20th. I think it's a good reminder of us to really remember the power that we have within ourselves. And when we change our way of thinking or just our way of vibrating, you know, it does change the planet, if you will. It does change our communities. It does change things around us. And it's important to start small. And it's important to remember that we are just starting with this Pluto in Aquarius, which is bringing in this whole new energy. So we have to change with that. We have to recalibrate ourselves as well. And this solar eclipse is coming in and helping us do that all at once. So of course, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you'd like to do a session, please feel free to reach out to me. Like Helen and I will be doing our video later today. So I hope you guys have a really great week. I hope you guys have a happy dark moon in Aries part 2, and also a really good full solar lunar I mean, why do I keep saying solar lunar eclipse? A very good full solar total, very good total solar eclipse. All right, you guys. I will see you soon with Helen.